Hi, Omega Chaos here again with another real life deck profile, and this time I am showing my updated Endymion deck. So I changed this deck a little bit, so yeah, I think it's now a little bit better, a little bit more consistent, and works quite better, I think. So I guess let's go this deck. So first the monsters. So I use, of course, triple Endymion, the mighty Master of Magic. Obviously, a really good card. Can negate any spell or trap card by drawing a card with a spell counter on it. So that's really amazing. Has a pretty good pendulum effect as well. But I'm not going to use it that often. But obviously, all around, amazing card. Yeah, you definitely want to use as much as possible. So yeah. Then triple reflection of Endymion. Previously I used only one of this card, but things have now changed. This card is actually pretty good. Obviously it doesn't gain you as much advantage as other Endymion monsters, but still pretty good, because obviously if you remove 3 spell counters, you can spell summon this card, and a monster from the hand that you can put a spell counter on. So definitely pretty good. Another way to go into your Electromite if you need it, and monster effect is actually pretty good as well. A pretty good disruption with something like Magister of Endymion, which you can actually summon this card from the deck in your opponent's turn. Then of course I use triple Servant of Endymion. Obviously, pretty much very needed card as well. Obviously, because just removes 3 spell counters on it while it's a pendulum zone. Then I spell summon this card from the pendulum zone, and then one monster from the deck with doesn't more attack that you can put a spell counter on. So like things like Jackal, so you can avoid some things like Nibiru and then go into Electromite if you wanted to, and or Endymion, the mighty Master of Magic. So definitely a really powerful card for sure, and obviously it's used as an engine in other pendulum based strategies as well. Then I use triple Magister of Endymion, which is the main high scale in the deck. So definitely pretty good as well. Decent pendulum effect and good monster effect as well. So that was for the Endymion monsters in the main deck. Now let's see some Mythical Beast monsters that actually help go alongside this deck very well, of course. So first I use, of course, Mythical Beast Master Cerberus. Obviously a really good card for this deck, because you can just summon, just search for a Jackal King, and then summon this card from the deck with Jackal King and stuff like that. So you can go into Electromite and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that has a pretty good monster effect as well if you can bring it out. So yeah, definitely a very nice card for this deck. Then I use of course triple Mythical Beast Jackal King. So alongside Endymion, the mighty Master of Magic, this your main negation card. You want to bring out as many of these as possible, so you can negate monster effects, because obviously this card's monster effect is not hard once per turn. So if you have multiple copies, you can negate multiple monster effects. So basically, if you activate a spell card, when it's in the monster zone, you can put 2 spell counters on it. Then of course you can remove 2 spell counters on your field to negate any monster effect and then destroy that card. That was in your pendulum zone, you can just destroy it and then summon a Mythical Beast from the deck. Definitely a very essential card for this deck. And then some one of Mythical Beasts, Mythical Beast Garuda. Pretty good. Going second, you can just destroy your opponent's spells or traps, and in your hand, as a monster effect, you can kind of hack, so like a hand trap, another disruption, I guess. Definitely pretty good for sure. Mythical Beast Jackal. So I cut it down to 1, because I don't really need it that often, I think. And of course, I still use the 1, because you can switch it out with your Mythical Institution by just removing 1 spell counter from the field. Then I use triple Magical Abductor. Another really good card for this deck, is obviously by removing 3 spell counters. I mentioned in your pendulum zone, you can search out for any pendulum monster, so that's definitely really good, I think. and then I use a triple chronograph toaster. I decided to include this engine in to make making electromite a lot easier. So yeah, not sure if it's necessary really, but just testing it out, I think. And of course, to go alongside chronograph, your time gazer and magician. So pretty obvious, I think. So that was the monsters in the main deck. Now let's see the spell cards. Of course, in this deck I use no traps. So of course I use triple Magical Citadel of Endymion. I think this card is very necessary for pure Endymion in particular. So obviously it holds your spell counters, so you can use them for more effects and stuff like that. But obviously sometimes you don't have enough spell counters for your effects, and this card helps with that quite a bit. Obviously, I'm not sure if running 3 is the right option, right choice, I mean. But I think you kind of need it for sure in your opening hand, so that's why I use it at 3, although it can be a little bit tricky at 3 if you throw multiples. Then I use triple Mythical Institution. It's another little bit iffy card, because obviously it's not a card you don't want to draw multiples of, but I discovered that this card is actually very needed, because obviously you can search out pretty much anything in your deck, at least in this deck, so this card is really good for sure. It doesn't only hold spell counters if your Mythical Beast is destroyed by Veil card effect, so like if you activate your Mythical Beast's effects in the Pendulum Zone and destroy them, it gets 2 counters for each, so definitely very powerful card. Then I use, of course, triple Spell Power Mastery. Of course, you can search for any Endymion card, so that's definitely really amazing. I don't use Spell Power Grasp anymore, so I don't make that because that card is kind of a blank, I think. So this is pretty much, I think, enough for that. Then I use one terraforming, just to search out your Magical Citadel, and the last cards in the main deck are triple Pot of Desires, because you run a lot of free offs in the deck, so this card actually helps quite a lot, of course, to get more advantage and more combo pieces. So that was spells and the whole main deck. So let's see the deck. It's still very small. Pretty much you can put anything else you want, but the only cards you really need are Electromite and Daybreaker. So I use, of course, 2 Daybreaker, Dark Magical Warrior. Definitely pretty good if you already have used Electromite. So yeah, and of course your Heavy Metal Force Electromite. Obviously very obvious, you want to bring it out first turn every duel. So I don't think I really need to explain this card, why this card is like so good for any pendulum based strategy. And I also use one Exist monster right now. I use one Norito, the Moral Leader, because if you go up against decks like Sky Strikers that don't use as many monster effects, you might want to overlay your 2 level 6 spellcasters like the Chronograph and like your Jackal King into this card if you want to, of course. So that's definitely an option. You might want to run other Exist monsters like your maybe rank 7s, like I don't know, anything really, I guess, Dracosac, B-Guy, stuff like that. But normally I don't think those are really necessary, because obviously this deck doesn't really rely on extra deck much. So this was my update Endymion real life deck profile. I think this deck is definitely my primary competitive deck, because I think this deck actually works quite well against the current format, against different counters like Nibiru, because obviously you don't even have to summon like 5 times in a turn. Jackal King also prevents Nibiru's activation, of course, if you summon it out with Servant of Endymion, so that's definitely really good. And obviously people run a lot of cards that counter graveyard-based decks, and this deck is immune against those cards as well. So I think this deck can definitely be a very good choice against current metagame. So I hope you enjoyed this real life deck profile. For now, goodbye and Omakios out.